Welcome.
I wanted to do it this time.
Okay, go for it.
Sorry, I thought I was ready, but I wasn't.
We're keeping this in. Let's
go. Oh, so this... Never mind. We'll get into it later. Okay. Hello, and welcome back to Cacho On, a Game Center CX podcast, the first, best, and only, to my knowledge, that exists. My name is...
The best for sure. No doubt.
Even being the only one. You know, we probably get like the silver medal there. My name is Sam, and with me now is my co-host, Old Dirty Jackson, who has promised us a sneak preview at his new freestyle album. Jackson, take it away.
No, thank you. However, this is episode 3.
This track sucks.
Okay.
Mister, but I'm not a rapper over here.
Yo. Okay, we're moving on from this odd bit.
This is episode 3, wherein Areno challenges Ghosts and Goblins, the famous or infamous, if you will, NES platformer. Jackson, tell us a little bit more about this game.
That was the click.
What was?
You just did it too.
What?
I do that always.
I wonder if one of us got it from the other.
I don't know. I feel like I've been doing it forever. Anyway.
When I go home, I do my best to, I enter Jackson mode, so.
Okay. Ghosts and Goblins, in Japan known as Makai Mura, that's what they refer to it as in this episode, is a Capcom run-and-gun platformer from 1985. That's the launch year for the Nintendo Entertainment System. It's about 2 years into the Famicom's lifespan. It's infamous for being insanely difficult. It's only very short, 7 stages, but it took this Areno guy quite a while to beat it, to say the least.
Quite a while. And you know what? Sometimes we watch him flail for seemingly no good reason. He went up against Ghosts and Goblins here, and he did.
He played his heart out.
Yeah, I got no issues. I have individual smaller issues with some of the choices he made. Overall, I think Areno, fantastic work.
I mean, I don't think I have one thing that I really strongly disagree with him doing. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I think he just did a solid performance here.
Yeah. Jackson, do you have any experience with this game?
No, I've never played it.
Ever?
No, that's not true. When in my hometown, there was they added a very small, really crappy arcade. And one of the things they had there was the arcade version of this game. And I really gave it my all for about 3 minutes and realized that it's borderline impossible. Or at least it seemed that way.
Right. I was in the 9th grade, I think, and my friend...
When this came out?
Wow. I'm going to jump off the... my friend modded his Wii, and he put a bunch of emulators on it. And we, on the NES emulator, they had this game. And we were like, man, what is going on with this game? This is crazy.
Yeah.
We were also enamored with how difficult and seemingly bonkers it was compared to what we knew. Because the other thing we were using that Wii for was New Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
So it's that.
That's nothing.
And then Ghosts and Goblins.
That's cool math games compared to this.
I have beat the first loop.
Okay. What changes about the second loop?
I believe enemies. I don't entirely know. It was mentioned in this episode that the second loop
is harder. Yeah.
But gun to my head, I could not tell you exactly.
Well, there's not.
What that is.
So maybe since there's not a gun to your head, maybe you can answer it?
Okay. Gun to my head. No gun to my head. I don't know.
Okay. So the gun is irrelevant? There's really no point in bringing it up because it doesn't change anything?
I feel like, no. Look, gun to my head, I am more... I feel like most people would be more inclined.
You think they'd have a better recollection with a gun to their head?
I think their life depends on it.
But wouldn't that be a high-tense situation and maybe their neurons would be flailing a little bit?
Are you saying that if I, like, a gun to somebody's head is going to make their ability to recall something worse?
I'm saying it won't make it better.
Okay, well, I think we've covered everything we had to today. Thank you
At
so
least
much
regarding
for joining
guns and
us.
heads.
Gun to my head. A Sam and Jackson joint.
Okay. But yeah, so the second one is just harder. We'll touch on that at the very end of this
Yeah,
episode.
we'll get to that.
So stick around.
This episode opens. There's immediate self-doubt from Areno.
Yeah, which I don't blame him.
He's
Even though on paper his performance at the very beginning is no worse than any other game.
True. Yeah. Well, to a point.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I think because let's see here.
After the first hour, he starts to realize.
Yes. He got stuck at the first mini boss, Red Armor. Look over here in the States, he's known as Firebrand. So that's
He's a specific armor is referred to as Firebrand. The enemy at large is just called
man
armor.
of culture. I see.
Yeah, I did my research on this. Because I thought that too, and I said, I wonder why they didn't change that in the subtitles, and I looked it up.
Okay.
The spelling for the red armor is a little different than the subtitles had it, but Firebrand is just a specific one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, either way, this is the enemy, the mid-boss that you reach in the first 60 seconds of the game that Reno, unfortunately, becomes entangled with for the better part of several hours.
Yeah. Before we actually talk about Red Armor, which is at the very beginning, I have a few things about the very intro of the episode I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Which is, they say right off the bat, this is his most difficult challenge yet.
Right.
And I just thought that was interesting for them to point out.
I think they're including the season 1 challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still think, I don't know. I don't know. That left out of me. Maybe it shouldn't have. But I also looked up the meaning of Makai Mura, or no, it said it in the subtitles, which it means underworld village.
Mm-hmm. This episode was translated once again by the TV Nihon team. Just putting that out there.
Yeah. And also, Areno says off the bat that specifically the goal is not to clear the game. The goal is to see ending footage.
Yes.
Which is very funny.
I thought that was interesting too. And if only he'd said it was to beat the final boss or something. Maybe he could have chalked this one up as a victory. Spoiler alert, Areno failed to see the ending footage, as it were.
Yeah.
But we will get to that. And, if you're listening to this, likely you've watched it or you don't care.
Yeah.
Or you're my mom. It's one of those three things.
It's interesting to me that they frame, because I think they've said it in maybe another episode that they want to see, we're going to see the ending screen or whatever.
Right.
The clear screen. And it's interesting to me because they act like any of them are at all interesting.
Right.
When they're really not.
Well, it's more like I see it as like a trophy, I guess.
Yeah.
A status. I've seen the ending footage to this game.
It's just interesting phrasing instead of just like, I beat it.
When was YouTube?
2005.
This is pre-YouTube.
Yeah.
So it's you can't just Google it.
I'm really interested how they did their game capture for this show.
How so? Oh, you're interested in how they did it?
Yeah, specifically technologically what they did. Because part of me feels like this can't be, but part of me thinks, because they have it broadcast to a second monitor that crew can watch on, right?
Yes.
Part of me thinks they have a camera just pointed at that. Which I feel like can't be.
I don't think that's,
But I don't know how else they could have. I guess on the old commercials in the 80s, they had a game.
I'm sure there's video
screenshots
capture
and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe it's the same technology as DVR.
Of note, semi-related, that new monitor was paid for by
Mr. Toshiba himself.
Toshiba-san himself, Mr. Toshiba.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a good bit. Let's see.
I didn't get it. Is it because it's Toshiba branded?
Yes.
Is that what he's saying? Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
I
like
wasn't
I used to
sure.
work at Walgreens, and whenever we were pissed about some corporate decision that the suits upstairs made, we'd say, "Ah, friggin' Mr. Walgreens," you know.
Yeah.
So I thought it was kind of like that.
Yeah.
Red Armor.
Red Armor. Yes, back to Red Armor.
He has stopped many players worldwide. That's a quote from this episode.
Yeah. And watching the show, I believe it.
It's so. I mean, it's that Dark Souls thing of he becomes as we see more frequent later in the game,
Yeah.
and that strategy to defeat him is actually used by some of the bosses in later in the game. Eventually, you know, they gave it a 4-star difficulty.
They're used
that
by the
strategy.
bosses?
Used to defeat the
Oh,
bosses.
okay.
Yeah. The king gave this a 4-star difficulty. The maneuver to beat him, which is, you know, run backwards, jump, throw your weapon, and then
A fadeaway jump shot
yeah,
on the Red Armor.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not. The timing is kind of tricky, but 4 stars out of 5.
I mean, it looks tough, man. Especially, do you think that's the on a curve to Areno's experience with the game thus far, which is the beginning? Do you think if Red Armor showed up for the first time as he is at like the last level, it might be lower?
I think that's giving them. I think I would like to give them that much credit.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave that sentence as it is, implications and all.
Yeah. But anyway, he stuck on armor for a long time. So long, in fact, he finally killed him for the first time. This is the midway boss of the first stage of the game.
Mm-hmm. And the first stage of the game is not long. You reach this mid boss in like 60 seconds.
Yeah. He beats him on his 94th attempt. So just think about that.
27 game overs before he beat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wrote down that this is a great example. This mid boss is a great example of the duality of Arena. You know, on one hand we have retro game master, and on the other hand we have inept clown.
Yeah.
His tenacity, cleverness, and skill are only matched by his ability to completely drop the ball at pivotal moments.
Yeah.
And we see both of those. We see that dichotomy played out so many times, you know, writ large, but especially in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's he's really stubborn.
He is. I
But
guess you'd have to be.
Try to, you know, beat an NES game in one sitting, quote unquote.
Do you think you could do this job?
No.
Straight up. Okay.
I mean, he only does it once a week, I guess.
I could play these games.
Do you think you could talk over it?
I don't think
It'd be funny.
I'd be as charming, as charismatic as a Reno, no.
Yeah.
Anyway, on this 94th attempt, he does eventually achieve victory against Red Armor, and immediately following
Sasano. Enter Sasano.
I wrote it was very underwhelming. Like I expected, you know, cheers and
Yeah.
and screams and yes.
I imagine after 94 attempts that they're just like, okay, finally.
Everyone's sleeping.
Yeah.
They're having a snooze. Man.
Even the laugher didn't show up.
The laugher's not here.
He had a big moment later in this episode.
The laugher?
Yeah, there was
I
one
must have
scene
missed
where
it.
he just kept laughing at something inconspicuous.
I heard a girl laugher.
She's always there.
What? No,
Yeah.
what do you mean? I've never heard that.
You don't watch with headphones.
That's true. I watch with screaming children.
You're not hearing with the mix.
This is very much I sleep in a race car bed. Well, I watched this episode with my wife, so okay.
I watch this with the race car headphones.
Speaking of my wife, and I mean that quite literally, when Sasano
Boy
appeared on
ass.
screen, she said, and I quote, "I love Sasano. I love him more than Areno."
I do like Sasano. I'm partial to Sasano.
Mm-hmm.
More than Reno is a questionable sort of peek at her brain, and maybe you should rethink some things.
I think this is the part of her brain that wants to take. God, I wonder if she'll ever hear this.
Absolutely not.
Like malnourished shy boys and nurture them back to health.
Shots fired at Sasano, man. He looks to be in great health.
You know, she's not like, yeah, Tojima. You know, it's Sasano.
It's because he looks like a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see. There's one coming up. I think his name's Inoko Max, or that's his nickname.
An AD?
rather. Yes.
Okay.
He's very much the opposite of how that nickname sounds. So I'm interested to see what she thinks of him.
Okay. Well, I'm interested to see him. I've never even heard of this guy.
But
anyway, so Sasano shows up, immediately tells Arino to stop playing, pause the game, and he says, we got to go do an interview at Sega. And Arino's like, wait, but I just beat him. So he says, okay, here's what you do. Here's what we'll do. We'll give you a copy of the game on Game Boy Advance, and you can play in the car in practice.
He's like, isn't this my Game Boy?
Yeah.
Do you think he knew that the timing seemed perfect? Was he waiting for him to finish that, or was he just like, win or lose, I'm dragging Arino out of here?
I don't know.
It seemed convenient.
I'd like to think it was just lucky.
Yeah. Arino is lucky.
Yeah, Arino luck. We always bring up that should be like a segment. Arino luck.
They filmed him on the car ride to the interview, and that quote.
Yes. Go for it.
Sasano. Am I just a target?
Yeah. That's so funny.
I know. Oh my god.
I wonder if the GBA port, the Game Boy Advance port, looks any different.
I bet it looks mildly better.
Like how the Mario ones have the weird kind of, like, very detailed shading across it and everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this now we're at the I want to see this person segment.
Yes.
The interview portion, and they're at Sega HQ and they're greeted by a statue of Sonic, which is very cute. I liked it.
To which Arino helpfully tells us, this is how you know you're at Sega.
He also says, is this a distraction? Which that kind of confused me.
Maybe he thinks that's Sonic's catchphrase.
Maybe in Japan it is. I've never played Japanese Sonic.
Kore wa distraction desu ka?
But he's there to speak to the creator of Hang On, which is the motorbike simulation game.
Hang on! Sorry.
That they played.
I got excited about Hang On.
In the Tamage in episode 2.
Yes, he's been chasing this game for...
one whole episode.
Well, yeah. And found it immediately. And now, weirdly enough, we're here to talk to the person who made it.
Which I guess good thing he went back and played it, because then this interview wouldn't have had any
Yeah, good thing
weight.
he flagged that person down and made,
the Obasan.
Yeah. This guy, Suzuki Yu, if I had to guess, you probably did a deep dive on him, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Okay, I also did some...
He's so cool.
When I looked him up, I realized that the way the subtitlers subtitle it, they do kind of a Japanese style arrangement of the name and the first name and surname, wherein his American first name is Yu.
You gotta be
Yu
kidding
Suzuki.
me. Are you kidding me?
The same way that later in the episode they say Arino Shinya.
My God.
Yeah. They love to throw a lot of kind of...
I'm not upset at the translation team. I'm upset at myself.
That you didn't catch that?
Every episode there's a moment where it's like, I'm the wrong person. I'm not the person I need to be.
Between the two of us, we make one good enough person.
I need to go Jackson mode.
But anyway, when Reno first walks into his office, he looks at all the windows and says, "That's a lot of shutters. Are you paranoid?"
Yeah.
Which also, his office is just a huge conference room with a table in the middle, and he has a desk in the corner.
That was more or less. We used to work together. That was more or less our desk situation.
Mine and yours?
Yeah, it wasn't a conference room, but it was a big room.
It was an entire
room.
Like warehouse.
Yeah. Okay.
That had cubicle walls up at some point. Okay. Anyway, it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
So when they were talking about Hang On, they were showing pictures of it, obviously. And before we talk about the contents of the interview, which to me weren't honestly that interesting, I noticed the bike looked a lot like Kaneda's bike from Akira. It looked a lot like it. Same color. It had the kind of the angular design. Also, I didn't realize when he was playing the game, the monitor is built into the front of the bike.
I think that was the first design because we saw a different design
Did we?
in last
Okay,
episode.
I thought
right?
so. Yeah. But the ones they showed, I guess, presumably of the first design, looked a lot like the Akira bike to me.
This is really a show about Hang On. This is very much I think you're just here for the zip line sort of deal, you know?
Yeah. Sorry to those who haven't seen I Think You Should Leave.
Right. I think this guy's awesome. I was hanging on to almost his every word.
Really?
Yeah.
I was kind of bored to tears by him.
This guy's an auteur. You know, he's so cool.
One of the things he talked about later I was interested by.
He's a pioneer. When he made. So this guy has a ton of titles under his belt. To name a few, Hang On, obviously, Virtua Fighter.
Yep.
Right. Shenmue.
Online. Or did he made all Shenmue? They just didn't talk about it?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
So
he's
not Hang On, Outrun.
Yeah, he made Outrun.
Sonic the Fighters I'm throwing in because it's the only one I can remember. Other one, but...
a lot of big names.
Yeah. No, he's...
I wonder if he's still working on Virtua Fighter. There's a new one set to come out next year.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Virtua Fighter, as he's developing this game, and you got to remember this sort of thing had never been done before. A fighting game, and he talks about this, a fighting game in 3D. He's sort of the person who pioneered this technology.
Yeah. And this was only 2 years after Street Fighter 2, which kind of established fighting games as a genre. 93.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
He made his whole development team, practice punching.
Yeah,
and kicking.
throwing punches and kicks. And he said they weren't allowed to go to their desks and program and work on the game until they had mastered the form.
Until they graduated.
Yeah. And a lot of them hated that.
Yeah. He also talked about that story I brought up last time about how people were nervous at first to ride. The
Japanese are shy. They're too shy. That's what Sega thought. But apparently it took only one kid to actually get on the bike and try it, and then suddenly everyone wanted to try it, which I think is a fun story.
That's a plot to a commercial, I swear. Let's see, what else do I write? Oh, I looked up if Shenmue Online ever got released. It did not.
Yeah, I was baffled. I wrote Shenmue Online, what, WTF?
Right. It felt like a really unfortunate pseudo ad, especially in retrospect.
Yeah. I wrote a note about, specifically when he was developing Virtua Fighter, he studied something called Kenpo.
Yes.
Is that type of martial arts? Do you know?
Yes.
It is. Okay. Yeah. I thought that was interesting.
I mean, this is what I'm talking about. This guy, it's not even that anyone accused him of half-assing anything. He's obviously full-assing everything and then some. Mm-hmm. You know? He's a method game designer, if you will.
He's out here. Reno called the office Suzuki Dojo.
Exactly.
During the development of Virtua Fighter. He was having people standing in lines throwing punches and kicks before they could make a game.
That's what I think is so cool about him. I haven't heard, maybe there's stories from the Suzuki Dojo is this guy is insane and he treats us so poorly. I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility, especially with auteurs. But from what I know about him, that's so cool, man.
Yeah, and I mean, it was kind of worth it. Virtua Fighter is still huge in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
It's not so much the thing here, but in Japan, they're still playing it in large tournaments.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I didn't like from his interview was, Arena always ends with the question, what are games?
Yeah.
this guy comes out with, he pushes up his glasses. Actually, he says games are sound, footage, and interactivity.
Yeah, which I have to imagine
Come on, man.
TV Nihon just translates visuals as footage.
Right, yeah.
Which is kind of weird.
So it's okay.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, duh.
Thanks for the dictionary definition, man.
And they kind of lobbed him like an alley-oop in the quote at the end that the TV producers put on,
Right.
where they say he actually said games are a small universe.
Yeah.
Yu Suzuki.
No, that's not what he said.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he did, but come on.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now we're back to the challenge.
I had something else, but it's gone now.
Yeah, frankly, this guy, I don't know. He just seemed, for the kind of the revolutionary he is in terms of the games that he made. He really seemed too of like a straightforward, like he was a robot. He was a robot type of guy.
I don't agree or disagree with that. I could see it.
That's just how I felt.
It just wasn't something I thought.
Yeah.
I want his jacket. It's like Charlie Day's jacket from
Yeah.
It's Always Sunny, but it's cooler.
It is cool.
I wonder if those are real military patches on it.
Maybe.
All right. We are back to the challenge.
Yep. More ghosts and goblins.
Again, I want to mention here, Sasano's method of beating Red Armor is it's ranked by the king at 4 stars. Okay?
Yeah.
The stage 1 boss itself is ranked 3 stars.
Which makes Areno's first move with it very funny.
He kind of ran into it.
Yes,
didn't he?
that's what I wrote. I wrote this is the only thing I have under Arena Y is he gets to the first boss of stage 1, the Cyclops, which the game refers to as the one-horned beast, or sorry, the show refers to it as the one-horned beast, and he just immediately just charges into it.
it's whatever,
Which
man.
no other enemy in the game has. There's been no success with having your body touch theirs.
Right. 5 hours
Oh God! Up to that point.
and 23 minutes is how long it takes him, in total, Red Armor included, to clear stage 1, to beat this boss.
Including the Cyclops. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, 18 losses against the stage 1 boss itself.
Really? I didn't remember catch that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. At this point, this is almost half of the episode.
Yeah.
It's like 57-minute long episode. We're at minute 25 or something.
Are they all that long?
No.
Because the first one was only 43.
Right,
And
yeah.
I'm wondering how that's blocked out on TV over there. Whatever.
Yeah. He beats the stage. However, a nightmare descends upon his joy.
Yeah.
And what the nightmare is regular enemies at the start of stage 2, which immediately kill him and give him a game over.
Yeah, those things, I hate those things. I would not like them either.
It's at this point that he first applies a cooling sheet.
Yeah.
I made a note of that because I was kind of impressed he made it this far. 5.5 hours without applying that against the same thing over and over again.
And I wrote as a note, I want to try this cooling pad.
Right?
It looks,
Yeah.
I wonder, I mean, he talks about, I hope it can last 8 hours.
I want to try his squid snacks.
Yeah.
You see those on like
Yeah.
the stick? Yeah.
Also, Sasano also has one on.
Yes.
He puts on a...
Wait. I had a note about that. Something about... He gave Sasano a cooling pad. Respect. You know?
It's a big sign from Marino.
Yeah.
That's his precious cooling pad. He only has probably hundreds. But so right after he puts on the cooling pad, Sasano asks if he can try. So Sasano tries, and he dies, and then he exercises what is known as a forbidden technique.
Which is essentially a secret code to continue from where you left off, mid-stage or otherwise.
Yeah. And it's holding right and B when you die, or when you get a game over.
I believe, from what I remember, it's at the title screen. You hold right and press B 3 times.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's not important. You can Google that. the point is, they let Areno go probably about 6 hours before telling him this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in their defense, he didn't really get to a place where he could have utilized it much. But also, yeah, he could have started stage 1 from after Red Armor
Yeah.
if they'd shown him this at any point before.
But so he does that and he gets back to stage 2 and he beats the double Cyclops.
No,
No, not here.
Areno doesn't.
No, Sasano does. Sasano's
Sasano
playing.
does,
Yeah,
yes.
he does the forbidden techniques to continue, to which Areno scolds him for not telling him about continuing.
Continuing is 3-star difficulty, by the way.
What, really?
Yes, that technique is 3-star difficulty, on par with the stage 1 boss, and only 1 star below beating Red Armor.
Holding right and pressing.
Pressing B,
B
three
times.
times.
Okay. I won't doubt it.
I took a lot of notes on the difficulty stars here.
Yeah.
Well, I'll bring them up as we go along.
Areno scolds him, but then Sasano gifts Areno a little toy.
The Joy card.
Yeah, which is essentially a controller with a turbo switch.
I loved the music. It was very
Yeah.
like pulled the sword out of the stone.
Yeah.
You know.
Which it kind of, I don't in a game like this, it kind of is unlimited ammo.
What? No, yeah, definitely. But then Areno proceeds to lose over and over again,
Well-
and then Sasano has to beat the stage anyway.
Yeah, he beats the stage and the next one.
I wrote Sasano has cleared stage 2 and 3. ...
Yeah, I wrote Sasano playing now. He fights the two Cyclops, wins on the first try, keeps playing. Sasano now has a cooling pad, and he looks like he's having a lot of fun.
Yeah, he gets to play.
He's smiling.
Yeah, he's not just sitting in the corner in his little Sasano chair.
And Areno's just watching, probably with relief.
Yeah.
But Sasano at this point is already, they just kind of he blast through stage 3 as well.
Yeah.
And it's a dragon, and guess what Sasano does?
Beats it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Immediately. He's just really, really good at this game.
Areno unconcerned.
Yeah.
You know.
He's probably eating a snack or something.
Right. All in all, 9 hours to get to stage 4.
Yeah. I wrote in all caps and highlighted 9 hours deep now, which they mentioned right after Reno is in control again of the game,
Right.
And he faces another Red Armor,
Yeah.
and it's faster.
So this, I should have mentioned this earlier. Red Armor becomes sort of a reoccurring nemesis for Areno
In the show?
in the show.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
There's future Ghosts and Goblins games.
And they all have really confusing naming schemes.
Yes.
In America.
But then you mentioned how you understood Firebrand was a specific Red Armor. I'm wondering, so you probably know about Demon's Crest and Gargoyle's Quest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not Red Armor. Firebrand, a Red Armor, had his own action RPG series.
Yeah.
On the Game Boy, on the NES, on the Super Nintendo.
He's in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite
Is he really?
as a playable character, yeah.
That's incredible.
So is Arthur.
I think Areno plays one of these, if not more.
One of the spin-offs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
It's very funny. This makes me think it's very funny how willing Capcom is to turn anything into a franchise.
Oh, how so?
Like this game really needed like 7 or 8 games in its series and a whole spin-off series. You know?
I don't know. Yeah, Ghosts and Goblins is awesome.
It is,
What
but
do you mean?
just
Hey, this guy hates Ghosts and Goblins.
the nature of this first one, Ghosts and Goblins, just feels like such a just kind of one and done. None of the characters or enemies or in it are really that iconic.
Okay,
It doesn't feel like it would launch into a franchise.
Right. So, okay, I can see that. So
Yeah.
you're saying, why did Capcom say, okay, we need to put this dev team on what is specifically a sequel to this game?
It feels like you're playing as a knight and you're fighting just bats and demons.
Right. And especially in 1985, franchising video game characters is in its infancy.
Yeah. All you had then was Pac-Man and Mario.
Yeah. And
Mario was
Mario
new.
barely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was around since Donkey Kong, 1980.
God, really?
1980, yeah.
1980?
Mm-hmm. And then you also had Mario Bros, the arcade game.
Yeah.
But
All right.
that's what Pac-Man was like the big one.
Right. And then they're going to do that with Arthur.
Yeah, to think a guy who strips down when he gets hurt.
Right, yeah. Same.
What? Okay.
I enjoyed him getting scolded. They hand the clock and they say, it's so late.
Yes,
And then
they take the clock off the wall and give it to him, and he holds it in front of his face like a little kid, and then he turns it up around and shows the camera.
That happens forever now. They'll literally hand
Was
him.
that the first time?
They'll just hand him the clock. Yeah, tons of firsts in this episode.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's a good episode.
Series first continuation, actually.
It's almost 12, which I assume is midnight.
Yeah.
They say 12. Okay. Yeah. Because it's been 9 hours.
Something I learned from future episodes is that eventually the trains stop running. And so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have them all
They
day.
need to get out of there. They need to figure it out.
Which kind of sucks. I bet they have Uber now, but...
Somebody who I'm inferring is Areno's boss is scolding him.
Yeah.
Saying, to be honest, Sasano cleared stage 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So, we're going to try this again. You're going to take this dang thing home, and you're going to practice.
Yeah, they literally pile the console and the controllers and the game in his arms.
Right.
And he has to walk out of the building with it. And they say, you practice for a week, and you come back and you actually play the game this time. Mm-hmm. Which I thought was funny, because he really did not look that thrilled at that point.
No,
He's like,
God.
oh, okay.
Nor when he returned.
Yeah.
Before that, though, this episode was full of the Sega SG 1000 game showcases.
Which is that's a console.
Yes, a predecessor to the Master System.
Yeah.
Which is
I never heard of
itself
this.
a predecessor to the Genesis.
Yeah. Which you wouldn't guess based on the name.
I know. Yeah.
The Genesis.
I wrote some notes, mainly that the SG-1000 has some Atari-ass games.
Yeah, I was going to say, this must be like their direct response to the Atari.
Uh-huh. No, yeah, the time frame fits.
Yeah.
I only wrote down a few of them that I wanted to talk about. Chief amongst them being Girls Garden.
Yeah.
That game.
Yuji Naka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog creators' first game, Girls Garden. Finally, a game for girls.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Picture like very, very bare bones kind of Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
You're just kind of walking around and taking care of your garden.
I think the first time I saw this episode, I looked up what happened. Did you look up the game?
I didn't.
No, there's more to it than that.
Really?
I don't think they could have conceived of something like that in the early 80s,
The ideal girl game.
Right,
that
yeah.
only girls like.
This is by no means a proto Stardew Valley. It's not even a proto Harvest Moon. I think it's
It's
like
just what it looks like to me.
keeping things
Up with
out
the
of
Kardashians?
your garden,
Oh.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Or it's like collecting flowers. It's girl stuff, man.
It's a management game.
Yeah, it's like they pick flowers. Mm-hmm. They charge their phone.
Okay.
They eat hot chips.
They dispense hearts when they meet their loved ones.
Yes.
Hearts float above.
These are the 4 essential girl things from a girl's game that you need to put into them. So.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. He goes home. Oh yeah, we already did that. He has to play for a week, but now it's Tamage time.
Tamage.
This is continuing again from the last episode.
Was it Tri Amusement Tower?
Yep, in Akihabara. Last time they focused on floor 6 because of this 7-floor game center. Floors 6 and 7 are dedicated to retro games. Mm-hmm. And so this time he's in floor 7. He checks back on the guy playing Zevius. The shoot 'em up.
I still think that was cringe, man.
Yeah, and the guy is back and he's still playing.
He's still, yeah. He's up to 4 million now.
They just check on him and then they leave. I wrote down all the games that he played.
You did. I wrote down some of my favorites, some of them that I wanted to talk about. Night Striker, first and foremost, that looked cool. But more than that, I want to talk about. Do you know Altered Beast?
I'd heard of it.
Yeah, a Sega Golden Axe type beat 'em up thing. Reno said, "This game looks like it's bad for your brain."
Yeah.
I loved that.
Which I also, when he first started playing it and before they said the name, I thought it was Golden Axe because it looked just like it.
Yeah,
Yeah. He also played a Barabo Man.
No, yeah. Transcendental ethical man. All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I have no idea what that was. I still don't even know, even after watching him play it.
I made a conscious choice here that I don't want to know. I think knowing what those 3 words are referring to specifically, not what
Yeah.
they mean separately or as a whole, but whatever they're talking about, it's better that I don't know.
Yeah.
And that I can live with the myth, the legend of what the hell is transcendental ethical man. Okay?
They do it differently over there.
It's
There must have been a TV Nihon style translation quirk.
who would be that? That's Buddha.
Yeah, that's Siddhartha. He also played Dragon Buster.
They did, which does not look like a 1985 game.
No.
In my opinion.
He played Street Fighter 1, which the subtitles refer to just as Street.
Did you hear what he physically said? When he thought it was Street Fighter 2, he's like, it did sound like 2 or something.
Yeah.
Like that's a nickname for it over there.
I think he was saying Strike
Yeah?
because in Japan now, when like on Twitter and stuff, when Japanese Street Fighter players talk about the game, they refer to it as Strike 6.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Like as like a nickname for the game.
That's odd.
But
to me.
this game sucks. Street Fighter 1's really bad. So I'm glad he didn't
Well,
play for that one.
it's and I'm not the fighting game expert, that especially not in house. That's Jackson, but it just doesn't seem to be fair to compare it. I guess it's
Right.
Street Fighter in name only. Almost, it's a completely different thing.
Even the Ryu and Ken look entirely different.
Uh-huh.
However, some of the characters that you fight in the game have shown up in later games.
From Street Fighter 1,
Yeah.
they had
Birdie.
I don't remember Birdie.
He's a British guy who's fat and has a mohawk with a hole in it.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It wasn't M. Bison. I don't think it was Akuma.
In Street Fighter 1?
Yeah.
Neither of those in there.
There's a big bad.
In Street Fighter 1?
Yeah.
Eagle? Eagle's in it and he shows up later.
Is it Sagat or Sagat?
Oh, Sagat.
Sagat,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's the...
It's him.
Yeah, he's the final boss of that.
Yeah.
That's like the start of Ryu's story. That's how, in Street Fighter 2, that's how Sagat got his scar across his
Sagat, yeah.
chest. That's now a big part of his design.
No way. From
His-
Street Fighter 1?
Ryu Shoryukens through his body. Yeah.
Cool.
He also, then he played Magic Sword, which looked pretty fun.
Yeah.
Another Golden Axe style game. I think this one was from Capcom. He played Yokai Dochuki. I didn't even
No.
care about it. Tower of Duraga.
Was that the one, the crazy one where the guy's like crawling along? And Arena was like, I'm embarrassed. This is embarrassing.
I think that was Barabo slash,
That was, you know what? That makes sense.
what is it called? Tenacious,
Barabo, man. I get transcendental ethical.
Transcendent
man.
Ethical
Yes.
Man. Yeah. Yeah, I think that was that. I feel like that has to be based on a TV show or something. Just the way the characters look.
It makes sense.
And then he played a City Connection.
Second consecutive City Connection episode reference.
Yep. I also noticed that in the background is kind of like a city skyline.
Mm-hmm.
At night, you can see the Twin Towers.
Woof.
Yeah. Just thought you should know.
Yeah.
No real kind of story or big accomplishment in this Tamage segment. He just
No, and I was wondering, as they're watching Arena go from cabinet to cabinet, did they know at this time, did the crew, while they're filming this 30-something-year-old man play video games in an arcade, and the primary focus is on him, did they know they'd have a hit on their hands?
well, season 1 was a hit.
Yeah, but then, it's retooled completely. I don't think Tamages were even in season 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they were just trying it out because they only at this point in the season And then I guess and the series at large, they had only been to 2 places,
Right.
stretched out through 3 episodes.
Yeah, and I don't think I would have. I think I would have sat there like I need to make sure my resume is up to date. this is this is not going to work.
Yeah.
But it does. Against all odds, it seems like sometimes. That's all I have for the
Me too.
for the Tamagay. They went back to SG 1000 game collection showcases. Game
Yeah.
showcases. I didn't write much here except that I saw Fist of the North Star and I was surprised.
Okuto no Ken.
I was surprised they had an Alex Kidd game.
Yeah.
Sega's initial mascot. I was surprised they had an Alex Kidd game on the SG 1000.
Yeah, me too.
That far back. That was scary, yeah. Not scary, surprising.
Ah!
Yeah.
Poor Alex Kidd.
Yeah.
No one freaking knows who he is now.
We're back to the challenge at this point.
Yep.
First thing I wrote was improvement. But before that, we see Areno take a long and looks like painful, almost walk of shame from the elevator to the challenge room.
Yeah.
They greeted him at the elevator. They said that they took the console out of his hands, and he's just like,
He's had a rough week.
very much, don't talk to me until I've had my squid on a stick, you know?
He mentions how rough his week was a little later.
Yes.
Once he starts the challenge. But he boots up the game, and he really, really handily beats Red Armor and the Cyclops.
Easily, yeah.
No trouble. No words even spoken.
Nope.
Just done and dusted.
And then the next stage, almost as easily.
It was so enticing that Sasano immediately pulls up a chair to watch him.
Yes.
He's sitting right next to him from this point
to
on.
make sure he's not cheating or something.
I guess, yeah. He does have the joy card, which some might call cheating. But he clears stage 2 pretty easily, too. Good job, Areno. When they ask him about his practice that he did, if he did it and how much he did, he says he did a lot when he wasn't working, and that he had to do it after work, so he wasn't able to drink sake at all in the week.
Yeah.
And specifically, he says, "My soul is completely gone."
Which is kind of a concerning thing in context.
That his soul relies on drinking sake.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, he beats the first 2 stages easily. He practiced a lot, and he didn't drink at all. This is going back to what I said earlier. You know, he's metamorphosing from the inept clown to the retro game master, from the clown to the master.
Yeah. But he gets to stage 3, and here we have the dragon.
I don't remember how many times it took him, but yeah.
This is actually this is an AD MVP moment. This dragon.
Sasano.
This is the first appearance, as far as I know, of the famous whiteboard technique.
Are you referring to when they take a few dramatic moments and we see a montage of them game planning on the whiteboard?
Yeah, they
Yes.
draw a little layout of the characters and the part of the level
Right.
on the whiteboard and devise a strategy on how to beat the dragon.
I'm a big fan of that, especially when they get like 3 or 4 people in there.
Did they do this with Tojima in season 1?
I don't think so. In season 1, the challenges were much
smaller, yeah.
way scaled back.
Yeah.
It wasn't often about beating a game. It was more about achieving
Games as a whole, right?
specific trick.
Oh, really?
Or reaching a high score,
Okay.
etc.
Yeah. But yeah, so Sasano, you pioneered the whiteboard technique. And for this, we appreciate you.
Yeah, you are the 80 MVP of episode 3, Sasano.
I do really... Come on. I do really like watching them do this whiteboard thing. It's very charming.
It is. I like it, yeah.
But what they drew, it's all very crude drawings, but apparently it works. Because immediately after this, he beats the dragon on his first try.
Yeah.
By sitting in this corner and shooting it when it kind of swoops down at opportune times.
Well, there's something to be said about visualizing your goal. You know?
Yeah.
And they're doing more than visualizing. But yeah, it's so wholesome. It's so... it shows how seriously they take this. This isn't just some goofy video game show.
Yeah.
This is
war.
Yes.
This is man versus machine.
Exactly.
This is man versus self.
A few more notes on this section. Oh, he does beat the dragon on his next try.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything is 3 or 4-star difficulty. That's it.
Oh, and Reno says at this point, after they beat the dragon, he couldn't beat him at home.
Well, yes.
Over the whole week, this is as far as he had got.
Uh-huh.
So good job, Sasano. I mean, that's just straight numbers. The whiteboard works, folks.
There was an enemy named Woody Pig.
Yeah, I thought it was
See
funny.
that? Okay.
Would it pick blue imp or something, and then
Yes.
and then pit and then bat.
Right. Yeah, and bats.
Woody pig, blue sprite. It's not sprite. It's like one of those weird words for maybe it is imp.
It might have been imp.
Yeah, just a funny word for demon. There's a lot of different words for demon in this game, as we'll see coming up.
I don't have anything for stage 4.
Nope.
My next note is how long they were on stage 5 for.
Yeah, all I have about stage 4 is that it's the same dragon fight as the midway boss.
Right.
He has a similar ledge as the last dragon fight, and he exercises the same strategy, and it works. Mm-hmm. So good job, Reno.
Yeah.
That is maybe the strongest case of applied learning that Reno has displayed
Honestly.
in the show thus far, the whole show.
Yeah.
But stage 5,
He was.
he dies instantly.
Yeah.
About as quick as you can die in this
He
game.
was stuck on stage 5 for an hour.
Yeah, I literally wrote verbatim. He's stuck on stage 5 for an hour.
Yes.
His hands are cramping. He says his fingers feel curled.
Oh God, I was grasping my own wrist as he said that.
Yeah, and he said, "My fingers are doing this," and he bends the second joint of his thumb up and down. Which is funny because it's like, well, yeah, that's how you play the game.
Sometimes he plays for so long there are actual indents.
From the buttons?
Yes.
Oh my god. I mean, I'm surprised it didn't happen with this game.
Like those old NES controllers, the buttons were really.
They're membraney, right?
They were so it's not concave. It's
Convex?
yes.
Yeah, they have a hill to them.
No, sorry, the opposite. Than
Oh, they are.
concave.
Oh, they are.
Yes.
Okay.
And the edges.
I don't think I've ever
they
played
have,
on
They
an
have no
NES.
give.
Yeah.
All right.
He puts on another cooling pad.
Doesn't Sasano take over here for a minute?
No, but I have that. Well, maybe, but I wrote that he applies the cooling pad, and
Right.
he also gives Sasano one.
At this point, I remember pausing over and over again because the kids were.
Yes, he does, because Sasano or Areno advertises the Game Center CX book,
Yes.
which I don't understand what that is still.
I don't. Episode guide maybe.
Like, what could even be? It's just maybe it's like details on all the games that they played.
I don't know. I wrote that it was cringe, but
It has
also
to be a
little
very,
funny.
has to be a wildly uninteresting book, I imagine.
Seems premature.
Yeah, they're one season in that I guess was obviously successful, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
But now they're doing it completely differently.
Maybe it's transcriptions of the interviews.
Ooh.
That makes sense, right? Because season 1 was mostly interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably just a big variety book. I don't know.
Oh.
I'd love to have a copy, I guess.
My next note was I would kill for Reno's card.
His
Which
card?
which he was giving out at signings for this book, apparently.
Oh, man. Back
And
in,
that,
2000,
I-
in December 2004.
Somebody gets one along with an autographed copy of every game he challenges.
Yeah, I noticed at the end it
Yeah.
said exclusive, someone will win, signed copy of the game and business card. But the boss of stage 5, which Sasano gets to, is just called Satan.
Satan!
And he's basically a fat armor.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty funny. He almost attacks the exact same way, just in a cramped space.
I mean, see, that's what I'm saying. It's like, hold on. Where was the rating to beat Satan?
I think it was 4 stars, right?
Or Satan?
Would make sense.
There's no internal consistency here. And
No.
It's driving me crazy.
Which I have to blame on the king. He seems
Right.
fickle based on some of the things he says.
It's time for a coup. All right.
He has some tude sometimes.
We need to install.
Guns in our,
Yeah.
in our arms like battle droids.
He spends 4 hours on stage 5 before eventually clearing it.
This is the Satan level?
Yes.
Yeah.
Largely through using the same technique.
At this point, I had
Red armor.
honestly thought this was the final boss.
Right.
Until I
yeah.
realized there was more. but he beat it. Good for him. Oh, but he was a little. There was an annoying thing that they brought up that really made me go, "Wow, they really were dedicated to this." Because apparently, every time he died, it took them 30 minutes to get. It took him 30 minutes to get back to Satan. Reno at this point is very, very confident in his abilities. He's really like locked in. He's not.
Absolutely.
He's not like, I don't know what to do. He really is dialed in. Even if he's not playing that well, he thinks next time is going to be the time. Mm-hmm.
Agreed. At this point, we see the final game showcase of the episode. Outrun appears.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, did you hear about the movie?
What movie?
The Outrun movie.
They're making one, or it got canceled or something?
They're making one.
Why?
Hold on. That's not even...
Okay.
If someone was going to make an Outrun movie, who is going to make it?
Fast and Furious guys? I don't know. I never played
I
Outrun.
think you're kind of in the same...
Michael Bay? Is that what you're going to say?
Yes.
Dude, he's doing Skibbity Toilet.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I don't want to fucking live on this planet.
Bro, it's fine. The Skibbities will win or something. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
But
Look, he's making an Outrun movie and Sydney Sweeney's in it.
Okay.
So that's bonkers. What do you mean, okay?
I'm just kind of more annoyed at the fact they're making an Outrun movie. What's the point?
Didn't you just tell me it's okay they're making a Skibbity movie?
That was a joke. I feel like that's pretty clearly a joke.
Okay. All right.
You need to go to your improv classes.
Oh, that one got you, huh?
Yeah. Anyway.
I didn't realize series like Phantasy Star and Shinobi were also on the SG-1000.
Yeah, me neither. I didn't realize
that was
Phantasy Star was that old.
Yeah.
Sega's had their mainstay series for a minute.
Honestly.
Yeah. But so after a few attempts at Satan, that's just so funny to me.
Well, there's some quotes here. We come back from the game showcase. Can he beat the ultimate guard?
Yeah.
Satan.
Yeah. I ask the same thing to myself every day.
This was the quote directly before Reno does, in fact, yes, beat Satan.
Thanks in part to the whiteboard. They strategize again. God, I love this whiteboard.
The next thing the narrator says is the ultimate guard, Satan, is defeated.
Yeah, I also wrote funny quote before game collection break. Will he be able to beat Satan?
Yeah. Not today.
But even, I say at this point when they come back from the game collection, even the king, who kind of reintroduces the challenge from different segments, he's kind of getting fed up. He says, "I'm looking forward to the ending."
Yeah, I have that. I have something about that later, actually.
Should I say me too?
Yeah. I wrote that he obliterated stage 6.
Yeah. I just wrote there's a stage 6. I didn't realize this.
Kind of spent there. They spent, again, 25 minutes on stage 1. Everything else has to kind of be condensed.
And also, I have to imagine because the whole thing of stage 6 is it has every previous boss in it.
Right.
And they already went over the trials and tribulations of defeating each boss in the past. You don't need to touch on it again.
There's nothing really
Same strategies
here,
applied.
Yeah. He just blows right through it. And so, 16 hours over 2 days to reach the final stage. Mm-hmm. And he enters that stage, and we see Lucifer, who has...
Or, he's also known as Daimyo.
Yes.
Yeah.
This boss has a 5 question mark difficulty rating.
Rating unknown.
Yes.
And then they play it, and I'm really confused on if I missed something or if my video skipped, but they beat him instantly.
First try.
Seemingly without any difficulty. Mm-hmm. Which I don't... I never played this game, and you have?
Yes.
All the way through?
Through the first...
Yeah, through the first... Yeah, you said that. Is it hard, or did he get lucky, or is it easy?
No, because especially with the weapon he had at that point.
Was he using the javelin?
No, it was the cross.
Oh, okay.
Which I remember.
Do you cycle through the weapons, or do you have to?
You have one at a time.
You do.
And
okay.
God help you if you remember that fireball you picked up at the beginning.
Oh yeah, that was the whole thing.
God help you if you pick that up. He handily beats Lucifer.
Did you say it was easy?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
So what is this just like You're like, yeah, you got this far. Might as well have an easy one. Or did they just
I don't know.
design it wrong? I don't know.
Maybe it's like
I'm sure there's an interview with it.
there's a
somewhere.
lot of interesting design choices. In my
Capcom's
opinion,
very
in this
open
game.
about their design choices. So
Yeah?
I'd imagine there's, at least their designers are.
Cool.
So I'd love to read more about this final boss.
My thinking is that it's like a don't choke moment. You know.
Yeah.
You've just completed this gauntlet of stage 6.
Especially if you don't know about continues.
Right. Oh
Yeah.
God. Yeah. You enter this door and here's this last menacing enemy, and you don't know how easy it is.
Yeah.
So,
It's a huge, they say he's huge, and he is huge.
Uh-huh.
Also, I kind of noticed it's very funny. Oh no. I just realized my thinking here is flawed. Which is that I thought it was funny that he's blue in like a pig. And I said, oh, the Ganondorf or Ganon vibe from Zelda
Right.
1. But this is 2 years before, or a year before.
They took it from him.
Yeah, they took it from Daimyo,
From time
aka Lucifer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this game has Satan and Lucifer back to back. Pretty funny.
Mini Satans.
Yeah, multiple Satans because he shows back
all
up
the
in
best
stage
Satans.
6.
All the top Satans.
Yeah.
He beats Lucifer easily, upon which, if you weren't already aware, we learn, along with Reno, that you have to play through the entire game twice in a row in order to see the ending footage.
The true ending, yeah.
Yes, immediately after beating Lucifer the first time, a message pops up that says something like,
an illusion.
This was an illusion devised by Satan.
Yeah.
Return to the beginning and challenge again or something.
So messed up,
Yeah.
man.
And then they dump you unceremoniously back in that freaking graveyard.
Yeah.
So,
So then, off screen, they have Susano, presumably.
Uh-huh.
This is my second AD MVP moment. He plays through the entire game. They don't show it, but they
well,
play
hold
it.
on. We're skipping some stuff there.
Are we?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, Reno learns of this, and he has a choice to make.
Oh, yes. This is funny.
Yeah.
They ask if he wants to play it again. He says, no way.
Yeah.
I hate games.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, they're at like 16 and a half hours.
Yeah.
And that's not including his week at home.
No, it's not. Oh my
Yeah.
God, yeah.
He probably put in, I don't know, maybe like around 10 hours, I would guess, at home.
And he's going to challenge the harder loop.
Yeah.
No, it's time to move on. I think he's right. He's going to hate games, and then what's the
No
point?
way. I hate games.
I'm always telling my kids, if it's not fun, why are you playing it?
Exactly.
You know? I'm not saying losing can't be fun. I think this game is a great example that losing can be fun.
Yeah.
16 and a half hours. He needs a break.
Especially having to be on, like being filmed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're being judged by your friends.
Did you know about the fake out ending?
No, I didn't know anything about
No?
this game.
Okay. Do you feel this is counted as a loss for him? And it's his first loss in the new series, the new format of the series. What do you feel? How do you feel about that?
Better being considered a loss?
Yes.
I think it shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to take into mind what a normal person should be able to achieve. I think they should say, okay, you beat straight up the game. If the second game is the same thing, just a little harder,
Right.
you know, he beat it. Come on.
I agree.
Just because the designers made a dumb choice doesn't mean you need to really abide by it. I mean, he even got a cheat controller. Mm-hmm. So, like, where do the rules lie?
It's just, it's very whose line is it anyway?
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. You were saying about Susano.
Oh, yeah. He, off screen, he beats the entire game again.
Mm-hmm.
To
show us the ending footage, as it were.
He's so good that they don't even show it. They don't even touch on it.
I would like to read some quotes from the ending
Me
footage.
too. I see we have the same thing because it is very funny.
Congratulations.
Yep. This is not us being racist.
This story is happy end.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Yes, I have that just exactly that to a T.
Did you read the next part?
I kind of skimmed it.
There's one
long.
there's one really great part in there. It's as a brave and kind knight, you feel strength overwhelming.
But congratulations. That's so fun. Why do they insist on typing English in a lot of these games in the Japanese versions? That's
What I always believed is that it's a sexy language.
yeah, I guess so. It's like a lot of street fashion in Japan now, and a lot of Asia just is clothes with English text on it.
Right.
Sometimes not meaning anything.
It's cool.
The same with the inverse is common here. Japanese text on shirts here. Yeah. The story is happy end.
The story is happy end. The king pops up. He doesn't agree. Even he's had enough. I don't remember exactly what he says.
He's been had enough.
It's something along the lines of what he said earlier. Like it's time to move on. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about this anymore.
We full cleared.
All right. Yeah. All right.
Full complete.
Full complete. Half complete.
Yeah. All right.
I think that's good. I think that's everything. Thank you for joining us. Any further thoughts? Any final thoughts, Jackson?
I was going to ask you the same thing because I do not have any.
Nope. I'm all out too.
All right. Catch you guys on the next one. Later.
Bye.